How would you define legitimately need help? Really.
Yeah, that's the golden, we can sit here for hours and talk about. I mean, we talked about it briefly, like the TVs and stuff. I believe
if you have a state that, bans abortion, should those states have more taxes that go to welfare and help out families?
Oh, you mean because at some point in time it is a decision, and at some point in time people take you have to take responsibility for decisions.
My dad didn't get any welfare, but he worked 80-hour work weeks in order to take care of me. And I'm sure it could be done with other people too. You could say single mothers and single fathers, but they can bust their and get it done.
MLK has been talking about this since the 60s. He mentioned socialism for the rich, social welfare for the rich, capitalism for the poor.
Yeah.
And
wait, hang on.
what difference does it make from a billionaire who made some bad investments, or a person who is genetically predisposed to drug addiction, or someone who legitimately doesn't work? If we're arguing, I myself, I'm a practicing Christian, and I believe, yes, we should help as many people as possible. I feel like the argument should be, irregardless of the method, there should be, do people deserve to live in the living status of a homeless person? We all know what it looks like because we've seen it, and we don't want that. As human beings, it's not what we want. So does someone, irregardless of the method, I believe that either it should say, okay, no one deserves to live like that, and so there should be a system that just baseline, if you reach a certain socioeconomic status, there are programs set up. Or if we are arguing that there are certain methods, I just don't know how you can argue a billionaire who made some bad investments is more deserving than someone who's drug addicted or something like that.
Okay. What about the person who's just leeching off the system? And they're like, yeah, I know. I just don't feel like working, or I don't feel like doing what I need to do, and I don't care. I'm going to get what I can get, and I'm done.
Yeah, I guess in my opinion, I believe that there aren't enough people within the world to argue that versus the amount of people that legitimately need help.
Got you.
And if we set up this system, we may reach another paradigm shift where it shifts to that, where people are like, well, I just don't have to work anymore. And then we evaluate then. But the system we have right now, we're seeing the repercussions of that. Now we just have a much higher percentage of people that legitimately need help, in my opinion, than people who are taking advantage of the system.
How would you define legitimately need help? Really.
Yeah, that's the golden, we can sit here for hours and talk about. I mean, we talked about it briefly, the TVs and stuff. I believe, like we said, basic human necessities and the ability to support the people within your system. So if you are a father or a mother that is present within your child's life, the ability to have support for your children, or if you're living alone, the ability to have a home with running water, and maybe, groceries are so expensive nowadays, but the ability to have 3 meals a day. I feel like that's a basis.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I don't know. Well, because I'm just going to throw out there for a second, right? It's a slippery slope, right? What do you mean 3 meals a day? What are we talking about, right? It's a slippery slope. Everything is, I don't really know, right? I started having taxes taken out of my paycheck at the age of 14. So check that out. That's 51 years of me paying taxes. After a while, you start to go I've heard this excuse, or whatever it is. I hear this. So, all right, bro, go ahead, man.
Okay, I have a question for the table, or whoever wants to answer this. It's kind of like a diversion, but same topic. For states with states that ban abortion, research shows that they have very low welfare goes to families. Do you think if you have a state that bans abortion, should those states have more taxes that go to welfare and help out families?
Oh, you mean because that means you're probably more likely to see a rise in single parent families, right?
I mean, yeah, I feel like it does kind of
You feel like the
correlate.
two are going to go together.
Yeah, because even you said like, like a single parent is like a big reason, like a big part of the population that like needs welfare, and it like goes to the kids. And I feel like, especially like on the right side, they're the ones who want to like cut welfare, but they also don't want to like, they also try to like force people to have kids. So it's like, if you're going to force people to have kids, you also have to put like welfare out there.
Or you got to, and the welfare might be in the form of sex education. They also are generally going to be states which is going to defund sex education. You know what I mean? Or STDs, right? Information about sex education about sexually transmitted diseases. Anything, whatever it is, right? Yeah. Do you have a thought on that?
I think that's such a good question and point, because the understanding would be, if so many people, the choice behind an abortion and a decision like that is to assess their resources and their capabilities, if they'd be able to bring a child into the world and adequately like take care of them, feed them, raise them, etc. So when a state is making the decision to ban that, I think it would be assumable that they would put in more assistance to single mothers or single fathers and families to support them because of that choice that they're being forced upon.
Well, first off, yes, one would imagine that would be the case, okay? Two, recognize that children are procreated sometimes unwillingly, especially like on the part of women, okay, in particular. But just as often, it's not. It's just a decision that people make. And like, at some point in time, it is a decision. And at some point in time, people take you have to take responsibility for decisions. Like some of you in this class, as much as we tell you, if you don't do all the readings for the exams, and if you don't watch all the videos, if you think you're going to just guess and narrow it down to two answers, you will be sadly mistaken. You will bomb the first exam, and your grade will go from an A to a B+ automatically as the highest possible grade you can get. You're going to send an email to Julie and to me. You're going to be like, oh my God, I can't get less than an A in this class. And I'm like, you didn't listen to us. You didn't listen to us. You thought you could outsmart it, and you didn't listen. So whose responsibility is it going to be? Ours or yours? And you're not going to want to take responsibility because you're going to want to say, like, I know I made a mistake, but I got to really get an A in this class. Okay? So when we're talking about questions of giving somebody or anybody something, right, that's from the public coffers, you do understand that with each person, you can probably walk backwards and backwards and backwards and backwards and find the space where they made some decisions that were really bad decisions they should not have made, and that got them into this position here. And they made bad decisions, and now, okay, we'll take care of that?
Well, sometimes those bad decisions are a result of poor education. That poor education is often founded in...
Okay. Or just a random bad decision. We all make bad decisions, and sometimes if you get a B in this class, it's not going to be the end of the world for you, trust me. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man. But if you something else, get suddenly disabled because you did something, you made a bad decision, you were speeding in your car, you got in an accident, you're paralyzed from the waist down, that's a whole different matter altogether. So it's like, maybe you were speeding because you were on your way to home because your dog got hit by a car, and you're trying to get home to get your dog, to take your dog to the vet. And like, okay. And anyone would say, well, that was, you were trying to get to your dog. All right, whatever. You see, these are complicated things. Yeah, bro.
Just a story a little about me. So my parents were divorced since I was like very young. My mother had to pay child support. I was raised by my father. My dad didn't get any welfare, but he worked 80-hour work weeks in order to take care of me. And I'm sure it could be done with other people too. You could say single mothers and single fathers, but they can bust their and get it done.
All right.
Provide for their kids, right?
Okay.
So maybe they shouldn't get welfare. If they can actually work, then they shouldn't get it.
Okay. Dude, Dennis's dad did it. Oh, dude, Dennis's dad did it. Well,
I mean, yeah, that's incredibly admirable. I think that, everyone should work as hard as they can to get themselves out of a situation, but not everyone is able to work 80-hour work.
Wait, why not?
Because they have responsibilities, they have to take care of a family. If they are a single parent, they have a family to take care of. They can't just leave their child at
hang on.
home.
My dad left me at home. I took care of myself.
You were the only child.
I was the only child.
Okay, wait, hang on. Hang on.
Okay.
He didn't have 6 kids. Wait, how many kids did the person have? 6? 6. So he didn't have 6, okay?
All right. I'm an only child, but I still ate some days cereal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. No, listen, I got that. My dad died when I was 9, and I basically raised myself. I came home from school, I made my lunch, I did this, I did that. I mean, that's fine. Okay, so you did that, right? Wait, are you the guy in ROTC? Yeah, okay, and you are really, you're in it, man. Like, you're moving forward in the same way your dad did. But what do you say to people who, bro, life's hard, man, okay? Like, really, life's hard. Like, there are people in this classroom who right now are hanging on by their fingernails, trying to, just stay in school or feeling depressed. It's just hard. Life's difficult, man. And so sometimes you just give a little bit of okay, man, I know it's hard. Not everyone can do it. So let me ask you a question. Do you really think that everyone can do it?
If they have a child support to support, they need to bust their ass. Like if I had a son right now, I'm married, and for God forbid my wife, has some accident, I have to provide for that child.
So you're going to do that no matter what?
I'm going to do it. I have an obligation.
Yep.
To my son, my daughter, whatever the case.
Okay, yep. Same with me. I mean, I'm there on that. And most people say that, but sometimes people hit the wall and they can't follow through. And when they can't follow through, there's a lot of reasons they can't follow through, right? So what do you think about a message that says, hey, listen, if people need help, we should help them? What do you think about that message?
Now, I definitely agree with Jaden. I'm a follower of Christ as well, and I watched one of your lectures or listened to what you said, and what would Jesus spend? And he would give away all his money. However, we're greedy people, and we like to keep our wealth to ourselves. And to answer his question, where would my money go? Instead of spending it out on welfare, it would go in my pocket to support my family.
Or what if it only went to people who really were trying to help themselves? So you don't teach someone, you don't give someone fish, you teach them how to fish.
Right. No one likes people who just skate by off the backs of other people. Okay,
dude, that's cool. I like that. Yeah, and I don't know what it is, right? I tend to fall in this. I'm a registered libertarian, right? So I tend to fall in the place of hey, you got to take care of yourself, man. I was working a full-time job at the age of 14. So I'm and I put my money away. When I got my very first paycheck, it was $77 was my take home. $77. I made $1.80 an hour. Okay? I took that paycheck, I took $10 out of it, $10, and I put the rest in the bank. Right? And the next week when I got my next paycheck, I had $8 in my wallet because I only spent $2. And okay, that's me. And if I'm doing that, I'm looking at you and you and you and you, and I'm well, you all should do the same thing. What are you doing? You should do that. So that's hard. This is a question.
I think the framework of thinking of welfare is, oh, they made a mistake. They didn't do what they were supposed to be doing. When I feel like the system that we are existing under, especially nowadays in America, is just very, very difficult to, like, you could be working 40 hours and still not be able to provide for your family, like minimum wage is super low. So I guess my question would be, like, is it healthy to really think about these people as just like making a mistake, or when it's so easy to make those mistakes?
Okay, yeah, that's a really cool question. We're not going to answer it. That's just thanks for asking that question. From what I know, from all the research I've done, which I think I'm quite fair-minded on this, welfare to poor people is a fraction. It's a really tiny amount compared to welfare for rich people. Okay? I mean, the millionaires and billionaires who are getting handouts everywhere. Okay? The corporations, corporate welfare. I mean, like, oh God, if you only knew. Right? So, like, how is it that we're not? Do you have a response to this? So my question to you is, like, why don't we talk about that as a nation?
Oh, all right. So I just want to say, Gianna. I just want to say MLK has been talking about this since the 60s. He mentioned socialism for the rich, social welfare for the rich, capitalism for the poor.
Yeah.
And
wait, hang on. Socialism for the rich. You got it? Socialism. The government props up wealthy people and big corporations. And capitalism for the poor. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps for the poor. Martin Luther King, if you know nothing about Martin Luther King, know that that was a fundamental message. Right. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, so a lot of this has to do with corporate suppression. There's a lot of corporate suppression in society. For example, what is being said about, people who bust their ass off to make a living. What if they can't do that? For example, when you were in DC and you had to walk over people on the streets, big corporations and big companies will keep a steady homeless population as a union busting tactic.
Yeah.
And so basically, homeless people are a tool to them.
Can be a tool to them. Yeah.
Yes, dude. And they want to stop people from lifting themselves up.
All right. Dude, I wish thanks for that, by the way. Thanks. That's very cool. It's another message. I don't think it's chance that when I put welfare up on the board, we immediately think of poor people. We don't think of rich people. And if I said, hey, give me an example, we have one example. The bank. Do you know how much money the banks, the ownership of the banks got in 2008 when the financial industry collapsed? Do you have any idea? And then Obama took them, all the owners of the banks who caused the crisis, and he brought them in to his administration. To do what? To run the banks. You know what I mean? Like, if you had any idea, man, God. But I can't say that because I sound like a socialist.
Yeah.
The socialist. Dude, what do you think about that? When I tell you, the three of you, okay, I want to come back here. When I tell the three of you about welfare, dude, welfare for the rich and the corporations. Well, does it make you curious to want to know? Go, Emily.
I mean, that's not like the first thing that I thought of when you put up welfare, but it definitely makes me more intrigued to learn a little bit more about that or look into it more.
How many times in your life have you had kind of conversations about welfare and poor people and, should we help them, and homeless people and so on?
I'd say a good amount, probably.
How many times in your life have you had a conversation about the money that we give to the rich in this country? and how much it is and how we do it and where it happens?
Probably not enough.
And have you ever had it?
I'm sure my family's discussed it, and I've been like in and out of conversation, but it's definitely interesting.
Dennis, have you ever had that conversation?
No.
Dennis.
I mean,
Done it.
when I actually heard like welfare, like I thought it was only a program for the poor. I know of the handouts that are given to the rich, but I thought they come under a different category or like a different name.
Well, we don't call it welfare.
Yeah.
We call it capitalism. We call it, a capitalist investment into the economy to make sure that everything is running smoothly. Like, we don't have that at all. But you're 18 years old, right? You're a Christian, you're optimistic, dude, study welfare, okay? At some point.
For sure, I got you.
All right.
All right.
Just study that. And by the way, when you get to be my age, hopefully it's not the case. Hopefully your heart is still really open, but as you age, and you go to work every day, and I work 60-hour weeks. Yeah, there's a point in time when you start to go like, damn, man, I'm wearing myself out.
So I just had a comment I forget who it was in the back talking about his dad. I think there's a lot of aspects to that we kind of just glazed over, and there's a level of pride that comes with accepting government assistance, and it's really hard for people to. But I don't think the resistance to it makes anyone more or less superior than somebody that accepted it. And also welfare can be used for childcare. So if there's a mom collecting welfare to send her kid to daycare,
so that she
getting
can
a
work.
nanny, so she can work to then feed her kid.
Which is very common.
Exactly. I think that was something I just wanted to touch on.
No, I think that's fair. And I think that there's a lot of work programs right now. The Trump administration, one thing that is really trying to do is push a lot of work programs to be like, listen, you can't just receive something, you got to give something back somehow. It's complicated to do, but nonetheless. Hey, listen, can we have a round of applause for you all here?